Hi, welcome to Reno, Nevada. I'm at this very popular intersection of Commercial Row and University. University used to be called Center Street until 1920. This is the Amtrak station, and we have the bowling alley. We used to have a place called the Colony Casino right here. This whole structure, Harrahs, a bunch of hotels and casinos. Right here was the Overland Hotel. This here was the old Palace Club. No longer here, it's all torn out by Harrahs. Used to have some really great spots all up and down this little section of Reno. So we're gonna walk down there. I'll tell you what used to be here. A little bit of nostalgia of old Reno. First up on the corner, 46 Commercial Row. This is the old Palace Club, one of the first legalized gambling clubs in the state of Nevada, opened by Giovanni Patriciani in 1927. The family owned it until 1979 when it was finally sold to Harrahs and ripped out and replaced with this parking structure stuff. And the Palace introduced the new game of Keno to Reno in 1936. And that became the basis for several other gambling venues to pop up in town. And for the next 40 years, Keno was the largest revenue producer for the whole entire state of Nevada. And here's our 1930s view looking north from the Truckee River. The new train depot's on the right, and we're at the corner here at Commercial and Center. And here's our view looking south in 1940 from the same location, the Palace Club in the corner, and we have Douglas Alley, the Bank Club, Hotel Golden in the middle of the block. The most notable thing about the Palace Club is amazing neon-studded marquee. And on the other side of Center, this is the Overland Hotel and Casino, opened in 1933, just 2 years after gambling was legalized in Nevada. It was one of the most popular sites for our divorce seekers while establishing their 6-week residency requirement out here for the new divorce laws. 4 stories, 53 rooms, and home of the $25,000 Keno jackpot. Had the slogan, "The last frontier of the Old West." Lots of historic paintings of cowboys and Western themes all throughout the hotel and casino. Anyway, it closed down in 1977 and then demolished and turned into a parking structure by Harrahs, of course. And next door to the Overland was the old bus depot. And across the street again, we have our Palace Club. And right about here, along the back of the Palace, this was the infamous Douglas Alley, home to prostitutes, drunks, drugs, crime, even murder. This is the main alley leading from the train depot out to Virginia Street, and the back door to our illegal basement gambling and speakeasies during the Prohibition. And then we have the huge Hotel Golden, built in 1906 by the miner and banker Frank Golden. 4 complete stories, took up almost the entire block here. This was Reno's primary gathering place for assemblymen, senators, and political operatives. When Frank died in 1914, the hotel was purchased by our own George Wingfield, the richest man in Nevada, and the owner of the old Reno National Bank at 2nd and Virginia Streets. In 1929, the owners opened the Bank Club in the hotel's basement. That was one of our illegal gambling operations you could secretly access from Douglas Alley. And after 1931, while gambling was legal and the mobsters, they still ran a casino, while Wingfield, he took a cut of the profits. You can have gangsters like Doc and Ma Barker. They were known to launder money through the casino here. Anyway, the Hotel Golden and the Bank Club burned down in 1962, and it completely destroyed the entire structure, including our gay 90s Bank Club. Sadly, 6 people died in the fire too. The owners tried to rebuild but ran out of money before completion, so Harrahs gladly stepped in, bought the property, and erected their new, huge 24-story hotel tower. Oh my. To the left of Hotel Golden here, very early Reno, we had Mays Drugs and the Postal Telegraph Office, and closer to the end was the Northern Club. 1939 became the Bonanza, and the Barn Club in 1940, and later known as the Frisco, and then finally, of course, it's Harrahs again, along with everything else in this whole section of town. To the right of the Overland, on the other side of the street, in the 1930s, this was a Reno Theater, the last downtown movie house to have a sound system installed. And further down, the Central Drug Store, advertising soda and cigars. And sometime around early 1930s, right about the location of the Reno Theater, this was the Ship and Bottle Bar, owned by Nick Abelman. Had a facade shaped like a front of a ship sticking out on the sidewalk. Then later on, the ship was moved to Carson City, and the bar closed. And at the end of the block on the east side, 1908, this is the site of our popular Thomas Cafe, elegant little downtown eatery catering to our divorcees. had the ability to sit 250 patrons with privacy and discretion. You didn't have private dining on the second floor. And Thomas moved out in 1913, became the Oregon Woolen Mills clothing store, then a series of restaurants and bars, even a Rathskeller. In 1919, became home of Parker's Western Wear. 1934, on the north side of the building, that became the New Silver Dollar Gambling Club, then the Clover Club in 1945, and eventually Parker's Western Wear expanded and took over the Clover in 1957. But a decade later or so, it was purchased and ripped down by Harrahs. And on the other side, on the west corner, we have the old Morgan Hotel, and next door, of course, was a Northern Club series of casinos we already talked about. So that brings us all the way down to 2nd Street. And here we have the Club Calneva, 1948. It's one of our original standing casinos. There's a 1908 IOLF building. This here is called Thomas Cafe. It was right here. And that's a Morgan Hotel and a couple casinos on the end. And that's our little story. What happened in this little section of Reno before Harrahs ripped it all out. There we go. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you liked that video. Bye.